where the Jubilee Secretariat is holding a press conference. Raphael Tuju, the head of that secretariat, is addressing the media, and this is on some of the violent confrontations we've witnessed over the recent past in their polls. Let's listen.
County officials, and we do appreciate the counties are very different, and the demography is very different, so that it's not proper to have a formula of one size fits all. It's not possible. So what we have done, we have customized ourselves to the county, and the strongholds have very clear formula, which we have requested our officers or directed our officers to use, especially in our strongholds, because the party is very popular. When you see the jostling, the pushing, the shoving, it's because everybody wants to have a part of this party. So we do know that our supporters have shown the kind of criteria that our supporters have shown that the kind of a nudge they have to garner seats within the party is because of the popularity of the party. But now coming down to the formula, there are certain considerations we have made of the real stakeholders in the 2017 process. And we do consider that the political leaders are a key stakeholder, the aspirants are a key stakeholder, and the MCAs also from the county assemblies are a key stakeholder. We have also done an all-inclusive method where women are considered on board, the youths are considered, and the persons with disabilities. So we have considered the special interest groups, and we have also done what we would say is a rationalization and using the constitutional methods of ensuring that both genders are included within the lineup that we have for the various counties. So that it should not worry people or worry the Jubilee supporters when our officials insist on a list that takes everyone on board. For example, in Nakuru, what we also had to consider were all the other, we have the Kikuyu, the Kalenjin, we have the Maasai, we have the Turkana, we have the Somalis. All those factors have been taken into consideration when constituting that list.
Good. So, it's your time. Fire. Who wants to start? You first of all identify yourself, which media organization you represent, and then you can ask your question. And between me and her, we'll decide who answers the question, depending on who is better placed information-wise. Good.
Just of concern is the violence that you see now, of course, as the party, the county officials are being nominated and complaints are emanated. We see already in Mombasa, I think Mombasa has some issues. In Nakuru County, there's an issue with also the one of those lead point person for the presidential campaign, that is Kihika's daughter. In Busia, there are also issues, concerns about how the party did these nominations. And then in Nairobi also, there's a party list that has come out that an incumbent MP is being accused of having imposed his people, his agents, to run the secretariat. And there's concern, especially for Nairobi, about the tribe representation. They say 11 of the officials are from one community. Yet out of the 20 positions, 11 come from one community which belongs to the president. And they are concerned that it's not all inclusive. Maybe your response to this issue, and maybe to Veronica, when you talk of strongholds, maybe coming up with another strategy. Is it a way of maybe trying to minimize the chaos before there's a lot of people concerned to get those positions? Is it a way that now maybe you want to do as well? People will be a direct. You sit somewhere at an electoral college and decide this should be the people who do party nominations.
Okay, you answer Nairobi and anything else that I leave out. Let me make the original comments.
Yes.
Okay, very well. We're just consulting what she will answer, because she was more concerned with the Nairobi scene. So she's got some very good explanations as to what happened. First of all, I think I want to urge you as members of the media to define for me violence. What is violence? Okay, it's very important, because what I've seen is a lot of passion, shouting, and all that, without any risk of contradiction. In Migori, at the beginning of this year, 3 people were killed. So in some of those places, you don't talk about violence, it's murderous. It's not violence, it's murderous. So when I see people who are pushing each other, shouting at the top of their voices, you want to call that violence? You know, I'm pleasantly surprised with the level of peace that we've had in this process. When in 36 counties, we have come out without any major incident. When in Muranga, Governor Iria and aspirant Jamlek come out of the hall shaking hands and laughing. Of course, the media is not going to show that. But I just want to share with you. In Nairobi, in Mathare, there's a young man called Patrick Owuor, 22 years of age. He just crossed from one side of ODM to another side of ODM. He was killed. He was buried in Sigomre, Ugenya, a few weeks back. I didn't go for that funeral, but he happens to be my relative. And the family is so traumatized. That, for me, is violence in the political process.
I think you must admit that for the first time, a major player in the political sector has taken the bait and taken the risk to say that we can have wananchi nominate their leadership without dictation and without an attempt by the Secretariat to impose names to the counties. So Jubilee has walked a very brave step. And the reason why we have done this is because we have a lot of confidence with the Jubilee members and supporters that when we conduct this process, they will behave themselves in a dignified manner, which respects the rights of everybody, including women and the youths and the older persons, that those people can walk into a station and participate in a process without being undressed. So that I would say that so far, the Jubilee fraternity has done itself well. We do not quite condemn when a name is fronted and another person shouts no. That's okay. It's democratic. You can speak out. You can have your dissension on an issue without becoming violent and without distracting your neighbor unduly. And we have used an electoral college method. That electoral college maybe is the one that many people have not understood, as a result of which we have had people taking advantage of the arrangements and sending goons at the gates. I will say a situation like in Nakuru, where I personally was present during the process and I conducted the process. It was so peaceful inside. Very peaceful, by the way. We did it. There is not a single name which Veronica Maina walked to Nakuru with. Those names were developed by the colleges that were supposed to vote. Now, when those names were developed on the floor and presented, certainly you cannot say that's my list. The same case happened with Nairobi. How many constituencies are in Nairobi? We all know. I think there are 17. Now, these names, we walk to the floor. Names are presented by, say, Tier 1 of the Electoral College, Tier 2 of the Electoral College, and Tier 3 of the Electoral College. The only issue I would have with that list is to make sure it meets the Political Parties Act, the stipulations of the law. So I make sure the gender is included, that we do not have a list of only women or only men. So we make sure there is gender inclusion, the PWDs are taken care of, and all communities that have an interest in the matter have taken those names into consideration. You'll be surprised that if you look at the people who voted in Nairobi, the whole lineup that voted, all the MPs were there. they attended that function. When people walked out of the Nairobi meeting, I must bring it to your attention, there was not a single complaint. The only name that was contested were 2 names within the aspirants fraternity. Now I'm giving you the actual situation if you don't want a lie. Because I conducted, and this is something I could put anywhere, even in any paper. By the time we walked out, only 2 had not been agreed on, and they were agreed on from the aspirants forum. So that people walk out, and those whom we have whipped as a party and refused them to fundraise and steal money from the public, take over 24 hours, then go to social media and even adjust the names. I was shocked that some of the names, what they did, even the Muslim name, they put Njeri at the end. Is that fair play? They were twisting the name. They even changed the real name of the person to end it with Awamboi or Njeri. That I have no control over. But if somebody wants to know the real list that was selected by the Nairobi people, a complaint comes after 24 hours. You want to tell me they are so aware and they complained after so many hours? They just went down and conspired and concocted. So I would say that while our detractors have wanted sometimes to pit Jubilee as a party which is bringing forth a process using violence, that's not the truth. And anyone who has entered has actually seen the truth.
Good.
I hope I've explained it.
Thank you. Now, but I'll just add something very important. There was a deliberate attempt to include other communities. And we have aspirants in Nairobi who come from other communities. And we asked them, give us your names. And they gave some names which were also Kikuyu. And then we asked them, but you come from, say, the Kisi community. Why did you give us a Mukisi?
Why did you give us that?
And then they say, no, you see, my supporters are these Kikuyus. So we cannot beat them and tell them, look, you must give us somebody from your tribe. But I think I want you to look at the flip side. ODM has got a very strong presence in Nairobi. Please look at the list of the officials. Just look at it. And then come back to us and tell us which one is more inclusive. Right? I'm interested to know. Because the thing is, it is very easy to fall in a trap of always condemning, but just look at the list from ODM. Look at who they are fronting to be their candidates in Nairobi. It's not even at the tribal level. It is at the, relative and family level.
Clanism level.
And clanism level. So who has the right to throw the first stone in this matter? Having said that, I think I want to challenge you as gentlemen and ladies of the media. We are entering a very difficult elective period. And I want you especially to appreciate that you have a responsibility to be analytical, to be fair, to criticize, but to be fair. I've told you that 3 people were killed in Migori County. I've given you the name of Patrick Owor, who was killed here in Nairobi because he crossed over from one camp of ODM to another camp of ODM. He's buried in Sigomre in Ugenya. He is even my relative. Verify those facts. In Kisumu, I don't want to bother. Go Google Tuko or any other. Somebody was caught with one mistake, that the meat that he came with from the butchery, the newspaper which was used to wrap that meat had the picture of some political leader. He was beaten senseless and taken to hospital. Those are my definition of violence in the political process. Let's be fair. Thank you very much. Any other question?
Let me just add in one more thing before you do the questions.
All right, officials there of the Jubilee Party addressing journalists on some of the chaotic scenes that have been witnessed in the recent past in various parts of the country in as far as their party elections are concerned. And